And we're live. Live so fast. So fast. Almost on time even.
I always get so scared when we go live. I forget to breathe. Yeah. Well, I don't breathe automatically. One half of my brain has to control it. So.
Are you a dolphin?
It's
part dolphin.
Just part. Yeah.
He's a dolphin from the waist down.
Did you have any dolphin activities?
For those of you who are confused, watch the last stream. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's on YouTube. Go look for it.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to the stream.
On YouTube.
I don't.
This is you're not going to find it on YouTube. So hurry up and watch it on our Twitch VODs. Those only last for like 5 days because we're not affiliated.
There.
Yeah, you have to go dig for it on the channel because it's buried in the graveyard of 18+ videos. So it's never going to be in your feed.
Yeah,
go find it. It's an amazing stream.
I just realized something with this game audio. All right, hold on. Let me see. Can you guys hear the game? Okay. On stream,
are you talking to chat or are you talking to us?
I'm talking to chat.
Okay.
Because I think the audio filter, the way that the game sound comes through, it's coming through Discord. So I'm worried that the audio filters we have on will like amplify it way too much. I think it's okay. Just looking at the levels, but I need chat to tell me.
We need constant validation, chat.
Yep. We do.
Draneth isn't doing his job, I guess.
No, we kind of.
He's updating us on the hockey game. He's doing his job. Judas says the game audio is a bit high. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
That may be on my end too. It does sound a little loud on my end. So we can always turn it down.
But it's such good game audio.
The music is so good.
How about now? I just adjusted it. How's it sounding now? Still too high? Yeah, it's still too high. I can see that in levels.
He's taking her down a touch.
Really lower it.
Yeah, I have like.
I've got it down to master volume 75%.
All right, how about there? Roughly the same.
Matt, what kind of wizardry audio are you doing back there, Max? That's
not sure if it changed really. It's like I got quiet part.
Lower the master sync to like 50.
He said
not more because
he said it's definitely lower now.
That's on my end. Let me. Is it manageable? Is it good lower, or is it just like you can barely hear our voices a little bit now?
Now that the music's going.
Like, and again, Judas, like. Lower meaning it sounds we're at a good place, or we need to go down more?
Tell Max where you want him.
Maybe go up just a little. Okay, just a little bit.
These boys are just insatiable. They can't be satisfied.
What is this skin? Free in-game. I don't have that skin. Hold on.
Unlock the Butcher Slayer skin. I like it.
Well, it looks like it's bloody. Metals.
Sounds good now, I think. Okay, we'll take that.
Free in-game bundle. Oh, okay.
All right, well, hey.
I'm going to log in and do that later.
I had to troubleshoot that on the fly.
Welcome to Save Point Society, everybody. It's May 22nd. It's a beautiful 8:40 in the Mountain Time, and we're ready to do a little dooming. For those of you who are sick of hearing my voice from the last stream, bad news, losers. I'll be your moderator one more time. Right up top there, right above me. That's Dr. Max, the one and only. He and Sean, right down there. They will be co-running the fact-checking in the chat this evening. And then our one and only recently resurrected Corbin will be diving into a dangerous situation here in Doom: The Dark Ages. Corbin, you want to give us a little rundown of your
departure? It's a departure. I'm having wonderful flashbacks to when I had the original Doom, and I got it on shareware, and it was like my mom bought me the original Doom on shareware discs, and I remember being for the first time in my life scared by a video game, and I kind of liked it. It's ridiculous when you look at it now, but
on a friend's PC because he was the only person I knew that had a PC and had Wolfenstein 3D at the time. And then he got
Classic.
Doom and Heretic,
Yeah,
which were
oh
all
God.
great games. And we played a lot of Doom because it unlocked a weird primal part of our brain. It was like, oh, this is awesome. Like I'm just blowing up these zombies or these like monsters,
Demons.
and this
Yep.
is the best thing ever. And this game is no different. I'm about 2 hours into it so far, but the combat feels really gratifying. I'm having a good time. Yeah,
I'm glad to see Doom continue.
It is- it is on. Like I was actually thinking about this when I was driving to go get coffee this morning, and I was like, is this game really Doom? Because it's kind of a departure from like Doom, but because it's like this Dark Ages, you have this shield, there's like weird like dragons and stuff that are involved.
We're
like,
taking it too.
yeah, and it's like this weird mishmash of like technology and lack thereof.
It feels
so
very Warhammer 40K to me.
Yes, that is a great way to describe it. But at its core, it is like a shoot 'em up, blow ups like demons and monsters. So I guess in that regard, it is still Doom, but it like is not Doom.
Yeah. Welcome in 5. The music is banging. Agreed.
Absolutely is.
I
As
picked
one
the
would expect.
soundtrack just for you, buddy. Just for you.
Did any of you boys? I know Judas and I did when we were younger. Our uncle had. Did any of you guys ever play Wolfenstein: Spear of Destiny? It was like a prequel
No.
game.
No.
No, I've never even heard of it.
No.
Yeah,
I haven't either.
I've never seen it anywhere else. That's why I was like, did I imagine this? But I
Is
just
that
looked
one
it
of
up.
those
Mandela
Mendoza
effect?
effects?
No, it's
Mendoza
real.
effect?
I just looked it up. It actually does exist. I thought maybe I
Okay.
had hallucinated the whole thing.
Like the movie Shazam that doesn't fucking exist. With Sinbad. Which in my brain, I'm still convinced that I fucking saw that movie.
Spear of
think
Destiny
you
is
did.
the retail release of Wolfenstein 3D. Ah, gotcha.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Yes, I'm looking at the Wolfenstein 3D Spear of Destiny is a prequel to Wolfenstein 3D developed by id Software, published by FormGen Corporation, and released September 18th, 1992.
Yeah, fair. I mean,
That's from the WolfensteinFandom.com. I don't know how accurate that is, but yeah.
I don't know how to rank Wolfenstein sources in terms of reliability, so I think I'm going to have to take him on that one.
Yeah, we're not
Give
going
me
to fact check
1
that
second
one.
here, gentlemen. I'll be right back.
Our fact checking is limited to what we're interested in, and yeah, we're not gonna fight on that one. Like true scientists, we are.
Yep. But no, I have a very soft spot for Doom from back in the day, and I think it is a good choice for the topic that
Max,
you're
we're
going to bring
alone.
up. I know. We are. Oh God, we are alone.
Yeah, it's a little
Okay.
it's a little
should I
romantic
leave?
right now.
I feel like I should leave. Do you want to leave?
No, I think we're being nicely lit by the
Okay.
fire underneath that big man's feet.
I had to go and put some Benadryl on. So when I was down in the Bahamas, we got lit up by bugs, and my feet and ankles have been itching. Like I think they're gonna itch forever. And
You're probably right.
I'd rather not be scratching at them like some junkie on stream for 2 hours.
And Sean got all of his toes
if
broken
you just
the
have
other
a
day.
foot
So
cam and you're doing that, there's an audience for that.
yeah, we'll definitely have more
All
viewers than normal.
right. Well, I guess we'll get started here.
I think let's rev it up, baby.
Let's go to the holy city
Chapter
of
5.
Ogato.
Oh, I only got 73.
What are these?
Yeah. These are the chapters.
different saves?
So,
Oh,
you
okay.
go back-
Okay, got it.
You can go back and replay, like once you've completed it. And there's like collectibles and stuff like that that you can go back and get.
Corbin,
Um,
Alicia wants to know where in the Bahamas you were. It is Judas's.
I went to
significant
Judas
Andros
Griffin.
Island, which is the largest island within the Bahamas, and it is the westernmost island. And when I say it's an island, like Andros as a whole island, that term is used very loosely. It is like a collection of little islands and
Is it-
atolls.
Isn't Andros? Isn't that
The Boston
is that
Star Fox.
Starcraft?
Star Fox.
Oh, Star Fox. There we go. Okay.
That was the big face at the end of Star Fox. I think Andros, right? Andros? Pretty sure that was him.
Andros. Yeah.
Andros, excuse me. Yeah,
Got some dragons here.
we sure do.
again.
So it's already a beautiful game.
Yep.
And this isn't even on the ultra setting. I don't think my computer's pretty
Probably
beefy,
pretty
but I'm not even sure that it can handle this on like the ultra setting.
I knew Judas was gonna be our go-to fact check on that one.
Yeah, we're gonna outsource some of the fact checking this evening.
So far, it's pretty.
So how much time have you put into
Squeegees.
this so far, Corbs?
I think I've got two and a half hours in.
Oh, you just kicked it off then.
Yeah, like it's on Game Pass. You know, they've got like their estimated time of.
You gotta like that the
Oh,
other dragons are
that's-
scared.
That's
Hell
pretty
yeah.
badass. And I think the estimated time of completion is like 15 hours. So we're still pretty fresh in this.
I mean, for an FPS, that's a decently long campaign.
Oh.
This is
Hell yeah.
the first time I've seen this dragon beast thing.
Dragon.
There are mechs in this game. This is pretty rad.
That's your
It's
mount.
just like-
Excellent.
Yes. It's so much yes.
This is
have no notes for this.
absolutely ridiculous, and I love every bit of it.
This is the cure
what do
to
you
the
want a
male
video game
loneliness
to be?
epidemic, boys. This is it right here. We all just need a dragon with cyber wings.
Right to the end. So I'm still getting tutorials because I'm still that like new into the game.
Awesome.
All right. Yeah, like how to fly your mecha dragon. I get it.
Sorry, we're
How do
focused
you
on the.
fuel
I'm sorry.
that thing? You have
We
to,
all
like,
got
feed it?
distracted. Like what? This is truly like this is how you like. This is like Bluey for grown men. You just set this in front of us, and we all get quiet and stare.
I know, right? Man?
Give us a snacky, and we'll be good to go.
I don't know how
Well,
you
gentlemen,
feel these things, but it's
Fuels
pretty
by
rad.
the hearts of demons. Just eats them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, put a
Oh,
few
that's
of
what the
those
dragon is fueled by?
Target.
Excellent.
Okay, I'm pressing and holding that.
It says you
Judith-
get tutorials for like the first 6 levels. Okay, there you go.
Are you guys playing this, Judas? Or is Judith playing it? Just Judith.
Nope. What does it
Now,
want me to do?
Are you supposed to face tank with your dragon? Is that how it goes?
You want to hold left trigger to activate assault mode, Corbin. I think that's fairly
You
obvious.
lock on, you have to dodge. Yeah.
All right.
Come on, man. You've played Souls games before. You dodge and hit. Dodge and hit.
Is it satisfying?
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
That was yes.
excellent.
Everything
Oh,
about that.
hitting him with the old
How
Godzilla.
satisfying is that?
The old Godzilla finisher. Fantastic.
Oh, that's so good. It's so good.
We are washing dopamine right now.
We
Our brains are
absolutely
just
are.
like.
That's all this game is,
Oh.
man.
Meanwhile,
Now
check that
you're-
out. Weapons are pretty loud now. All right, we gotcha.
Demonic turrets, perfect dodge empowers your autocannon. Okay.
Thank you for feedback.
Wait,
Please
hold
feel
on.
free to let me know if it's
Oh.
still happening.
I didn't think about
Corbin.
that, Judith. That's pretty funny.
Corbin, are you playing this in the hardest difficulty again?
No.
Okay.
Have you played a Doom game on Nightmare? Oh my god.
Oh
that-
yeah.
Like
You have to have
What
like
is this
underworld
for?
move, like you have to dodge and shoot greens.
pew 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 pew.
Green.
There you go. Green.
Is green good or bad?
Too late.
I don't know what this wants. This okay.
You have to dodge really early with those.
This is really annoying.
We are just all transfixed on this.
We sure are.
More.
Pivot. Pivot.
Granite says down even a little more. Doc.
Try that. I just put it down a little bit
Sean
more.
and Max are getting a little lost in the louder sound effects.
Yeah, I don't care.
I mean, do you really want to hear us?
Honestly, all we're doing right now is mumbling about how much we're enjoying watching this. So you're missing
Yeah.
essentially
Oh, there we
nothing.
go. All right, we got one there.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. So
Keep the feedback
Gentlemen.
coming, Granite. I don't mind.
yeah, let's get the audio worked out before we move forward with our plans.
Yeah, we better
Okay.
now.
Slightly better. Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
I mean, I hear Sean.
Same, but I also
I think
basically
one thing we might have to do next, when you guys are playing the game, the problem is when I'm playing it on Discord, the same audio filters are. Wow, still a little bit more. Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, the same audio filters are basically buffing up the game sound. So I think that what's happening is it's not sure is that. Yeah. 100%.
What you might,
here we go.
What you might be able to do though is, I know there's a setting in Discord called like stream attenuation, where it will lower the volume of the stream when it detects talking, or it'll lower. So
mode. Press dodge.
Oh, interesting.
Becoming Hell Surge.
I think that'll.
Sounds like it sounds better now. He is 100%ing.
Corbin is not 100%ing. I'm guessing.
Dude,
He's giving 100% of his effort though.
I don't know what the fuck this game wants.
It wants you to hear metal and blast with your dragon.
There we go.
There you go.
That's what I was doing.
Time it. Now Max can look disappointed as Corbin's playing this.
That's
Yeah.
true. Get
Seriously.
Okay, we
get your head in your hands, Max.
Cake-Up.
It's your
Are
time
you
for
flying
vengeance.
an air horse? He's pissed. Cake-Up is pissed. It's not. It's a dragon, Cake-Up. You
Yeah.
don't have a thing against dragons, do you?
What is a dragon if not an air horse?
We're
A
good.
scaly air horse.
Gosh. All right.
One more.
It sounds like we have the audio.
This is a
dialed in.
really dumb game mechanic, I'll be honest.
Kylea says, I had to fill out a survey today, and Xbox asked how many hours I'd play the Halo series. So I pulled my game history, and I played like 3,700 multiplayer games. I died a little inside.
How does that
If you
translate
want
to
to feel
hours?
better, ask Corbin how much World of Warcraft he's played, or Call of Duty, and it should put it in perspective.
Call of Duty probably takes World of Warcraft at this point.
Really? That's impressive.
All
Yeah.
the Call of Duties, yeah.
It has to.
Yeah. Pretty sure WoW still got me. Either WoW or FF14. I played a lot of FF14 too.
Man, I didn't realize that Doom was gonna have like.
Well, Kylea's got you beat at World of Warcraft then.
Oh, Kylea's definitely got me beat at World of Warcraft. No
Wait, how many
question.
hours in
fair.
World of Warcraft?
She's played since. Have you played since launch, Kylea?
Or ask Judas how much Destiny
I
he's
mean,
played. Yeah,
I did
imagine.
play since vanilla.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think Kylea ever let her subscription lapse though. I think she's been since vanilla. She's been subs
it's impressive.
since launch. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
So we all bow.
I don't know what the game is that I have the most hours in. It might be Ultima Online.
That's amazing. If so,
It might be. I don't know how much. Like as a teenager, I was lost in that game for a long time.
it was fun.
It was.
Griefing outside the
dragon
Lich
is
dungeon will be
just
a
so
fond
rad.
memory forever.
Yeah. Oh yes, the witch dungeon. Stealing people's stuff.
Sneaking in, grabbing their stuff, and then hello, sir.
And then
Do I have an offer for you?
and selling it back.
Mike.
Man,
So what are we talking about tonight, Brandon?
It is such a dick move.
Gentlemen, we've talked about a lot of important topics on this stream.
This better not be another animal topic.
But one thing that we've never talked about on this stream is video games. So tonight,
Not enough.
So tonight we're going to broach a. Apparently, it's controversial to some people, but I don't know that there's too much controversy of it within this group, or certainly not within this chat. But the topic is: are video games art?
Yes.
And there.
will.
So
Wait,
we
what?
go live Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10:30 Eastern time. That's the end of the stream, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We solved we solved it just there.
Ask a harder question.
Yeah, it's bizarre how. Let's see. Kylea says Sea of Thieves and Destiny are tied. I think about 2,500 hours each. Nice.
That's fair. It's a nice place to spend that time too.
So it's bizarre how controversial that opinion can be, but that really caught fire in 2005. Little known nobody critic Roger Ebert went out on a limb and said that not only are video games not art, they can never be art. And then, yeah. And then
Ebert's dumb.
in 2000, I think it's 2012. Yeah, 2012, on a post on his website, he went ahead and retracted that, only to strengthen it with no one in or out of the field has ever been able to cite a game worthy of comparison. And this is a direct quote. This sounds like a typo. This is what he wrote on his own website.
Cool.
No one in or out of the field has ever been able to cite a game worthy of comparison with the great poets, filmmakers, novelists, and poets. Double poets, Mr. Ebert.
Double
Nice.
poets? You
Double
really like
poets.
you know what? Poetry is one of my least favorite art forms, so
Overrated.
I don't know why he cited it twice. I'm already against him for that. Poetry is just lazy writing. It's just not. It's not even.
What are you talking about?
Oh, hey, let me finish this quote here.
Fire burns like ice and stuff like that in poetry, and it's acceptable.
That's medicine, Corbin. That's Shaq for Icy Hot. So actually, we are gonna get to that kind of stuff, Jacob. He finishes this quote with, "No video gamer now living will survive long enough to experience the medium as an art form." So what do we think about that? What do we think about that quote? Chat.
We can already
boys,
debunk that.
We know how Jacob
Yeah.
feels about it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, any old man expounding that something will never happen is always wrong. That is always true. So already that should be all the evidence you need. But generally, when it came to like movie reviews, I won't say I was 100% on his side, but a lot of times we're kind of in somewhat league. But this is one of those silly things where the art form he likes is not the one he's criticizing, and so it's just a really sad take on it. Because number one, if he would have just waited, he probably would have found games that would have satisfied his definition. And number two, no, he just had to spout that opinion out there. We're going to take him down. We're going to take him apart. He didn't need this. He didn't need this, but now he's going to get it.
So yeah, he actually the article in 2012 was actually written in response to one of his readers who urged him to watch a TED Talk given by Kelly Santiago. She's a designer and producer of video games. And the TED Talk was, I think, 10-15 minutes long, not a super long TED Talk, but it was basically her defending the position that video games are art and explaining her position of how of why. So the first thing that in her video and then that translates over to Ebert's article is the challenge of defining art to start with. Santiago proposes, and this is her definition, but she proposes the Wikipedia definition of art is the process of deliberately arranging elements in a way that appeals to the senses or emotions. How do we feel about that definition?
I mean,
I think that's a very good definition.
It's fine.
Honestly.
I think it's fine. I don't
Yeah.
really have issue with that. I think
It's accurate.
it satisfies.
It's already tough. I mean, art is it's such a nebulous concept that it's like,
Right.
it's so tough to
Give it. What was that definition one more time?
The definition is art is the process of deliberately arranging elements in a way that appeals to the senses or emotions.
Yeah, I think I like it even more the second time.
Yeah. There's that famous piece that was, I think it was called Fountain, I think was the title of it. And it was literally just a toilet that a guy put in an art exhibit. And people got really mad, like, this isn't art, but they were missing the point that, like, no, this is evoking a feeling in you and challenging you to define if this isn't art, then what is it?
Trolling
Like, that
is
was
art.
Yeah, well, essentially, yeah, it was trolling, but to get you to think about, okay, well, what is it? What if this isn't, then what is? And that's not saying that like this has to be it, but like, okay, but think about it. And I thought that was a really interesting piece, like just the idea of presenting something that conventionally clearly wouldn't be considered as such, but using it to evoke a feeling, which essentially is what Kelly is saying here. That's what she's proposing, is arranging things in such a way that.
Yeah, jeez.
I enjoyed that.
That's
Thank
art
you
right
for
there.
that.
There we go. Speaking of art,
You just evoked some feelings in me by ripping that thing's heart out.
Oh, now my dragon comes up. So I guess I have to go through and do like all these little like stages this round. All right.
Yeah.
You have to do stages in a video game? What the hell?
Yeah, seriously. So
they're
you said
remaking
Ebert
the
was
wheel.
responding to her TED Talk? Like that's what prompted this?
So he did go and watch the TED Talk. He watched the video, and then that's what
Goodies, guys.
that's what he's responding to in this article, in the 2012 article.
Okay.
Santiago does concede that things like chess, she's going to argue with Jacob here, because she says things like chess, football, baseball, and even mahjong. I don't know why even mahjong is in there, but that's what it says.
It's a weird single out.
Other examples of games cannot be art, however elegant their rules, and Ebert agrees with this sentiment. But then Ebert goes on to kind of add to it, and he says that games are distinct from work, which is usually carried out for remuneration, and from art, which is more concerned with the expression of ideas. Key components of games are goals, rules, challenge, and interaction. So how do we feel about Ebert's addition to the definition there? I'll read it one more time just to...
Yeah, hit me one more time with it.
Yeah.
Games are just... Oh, I know. The game is on and you guys are...
Exactly.
I turned the stream entirely... I can't watch the game. There's no way I'm going to be able to focus on the article.
Not going to not watch this.
There's too much cool shit happening in that game.
You're going to have to do more work.
Games are distinct from work, which is usually carried out for remuneration, pay, and distinct from art, which is more concerned with the expression of ideas. Key components of games are goals, rules, challenge, and interaction. So he's positing there that games, work, and art are all distinct from one another and essentially don't have a crossover. How do we feel about that?
Yeah, that's...
It's dumb.
Yeah, what if
Sean,
Sean's
go
job
ahead.
is to be an artist? I mean,
Already, yeah, right away. Like what you just said, dude. Like that's what.
what if you're a musician?
Yeah, if you're being paid for your artwork, does it cease to be art then?
Yeah.
Like putting a bright line between those categories is a bizarre choice for someone
It's a
who is
weird
a
place to
film
make that
critic.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
That's a
Your
try-hard
entire-
stance right there, if you ask me.
Yeah, your entire job. Exactly, Dran. Yeah. So music and movies are right out. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
What. And that's in my notes. I'm very mean to Mr. Ebert in my notes, so I'm going to try to parse them without reading. I was heated when I read this article, and there's lots of bad words in there. So
I'm just impressed that this topic gets more passion out of you than your last
This is
one.
ridiculous. BRB, what's up?
I was passionate in a completely different way in the previous.
There was passion.
There was
Oh, yes.
passion. There was release.
Max is just loving these techniques. Like I said, this game still triggers something very primal, I think, in all of us.
Judas says, I was pretty mean to Ebert back in the day after this bullshit. Yeah, I can see Judas harboring a grudge there. I mean,
Well, certainly.
I don't know why some people love the image of like the starving artist as the highest ideal. Like I know
crazy.
people who make
like
a living
people
by
think they're
doing
built hard
art.
to live, you
And
know?
it's a tough living, but they
Yeah.
would rather make a living from it. There's no shame in that. But to have like you're only a pure artist if you don't make a living from it. I don't know that he said that directly, but this sort of like you're not doing art for never a monetary reason. Like it's always
That was cool.
I mean, it may not be for everybody, but it doesn't. I don't think it's intrinsic to art.
Yeah. So I'm
Unless
gonna
you
skip
live
through
in a
my.
society that you just have what was it, patronage system, where you just like have a rich person who's like, I just pay you to
Sure.
be an artist and create things.
Yeah.
We're not returning that anytime soon.
Likely not. But so I'm going to skip through my rage bit in my notes here. But I do say near the end of this that Ebert is being deliberately obtuse and unwilling to engage. And in the next sentence, he immediately retreats by saying, quote, "We could play with definitions all day." All right, Rod.
Dude.
Well, I mean, you're
gonna give
having
you
a
definition.
debate. You kind of have
Yeah.
to, buddy.
Yeah.
He's the one who brought it up.
Exactly.
His first real like argument paragraph in the article is about defining art, and then he ends that paragraph
Like,
by
we can't
saying,
talk about that.
"We can play with definitions all day." That's my Roger Ebert accent. Is it accurate? Yes, it is.
I
Don't
think
argue
so.
with me.
It sounded just like him.
That's what I thought.
assume it was
Sign
him.
on. Judah said, I went to school for media, art, and animation. Ebert basically insulted all of us in the field. Yeah, no, he did. I think there's a phenomenon too where you get to be like, it's not just dudes, but it's probably definitely a lot of dudes. You get high up in your field, and you're just like, I have reached a place in my career where I need to shit upon those below me. And they just, so many people who at least appeared to be intellectually impressive in some fashion or whatever, a respected critic, just give them enough time out there and they just ruin their legacy. They just always do. So we need to stop before we get too famous, is what I'm saying.
All critics should be canceled at age 35 is our stance.
You get to criticize up until then.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
and then you have to get a real job. Thank you. I saw Dranith. Yeah, you have no idea how many times I reference that in my notes, Dranith. There are so many times where I'm like, well, you can't even argue about it anymore. So, but we're a peace-loving group here, and we're going to try to. No, we're not.
Are we?
Ebert's wrong. So, okay, I'm going to there's one more little bit here, and then I got some questions for you boys. There's lots more article to go through, but there's one more little bit here and then some questions, then we'll go back to it. So, Ebert says that an obvious difference is that you can win a game. It has rules, points, objectives, and an outcome. And my note right after that is that Ebert is he's clearly stuck in the past. Points? Like, when was the last game? When was the last video game you guys played that tracked your points?
Video games.
Well, I mean, Matthew.
Zima, Hula Hoop.
I was about to say.
Video games?
I guess I don't have much in this say. I was just playing Castlevania. So.
Yeah, and that was all tracking points.
Yeah.
Kylea, why are you shitting on Corbin's gameplay? Come on, man.
Wait.
Still on the dragon level? She asks.
It's like a freaking hour.
Okay, maybe she's being nice. Maybe she's not being nice. I can't tell. I can't tell if she's razzing you or not.
But yes, I'm still on it, so it's just how it is. Accept it.
That's just the way it's going to be.
It is. Yeah, I mean, I don't get why he jumped into this battle.
Don't worry, we'll get to that. So, if you think he was a coward on the definitions thing, don't you worry, my friend. We'll get to that bit. Yes, you were, Kylea. If you're gonna make Corbin feel bad about how bad he is at this game, at least back it up. Come on.
What if she was asking it like, "Hey, oh cool, are you still on the dragon level?"
It didn't feel that way. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Can we talk about this weapon that Corbin is using right now? It's like a giant motor that fires pieces of skulls at people in a spread.
It is pretty rad.
It's like it's most ridiculous.
I
like that the skull has an artsy little carving. Art has an artsy little carving in it.
Yeah, look at
I didn't see you saw the art.
There's a key up there. I need to get up there.
Like it's got pistons on it. Makes sense.
At 100% this level there, I backed it up.
Yeah. I mean, I will probably 100% it at some point too. I just don't know that will be tonight.
Fair. She said it was an honest question. Dranith says Pixar, it didn't happen.
Dranith demands proof.
Well, our chat battles with itself.
Text your achievements to Sean so Sean can put them on his phone so Sean can put the phone up to the camera for the stream.
Yeah, exactly. That's how this works.
That's the most efficient way for us to see that this is true.
And we always run on efficiency.
We do. We definitely do.
So Ebert has his little definition there where he says that games have rules, points, objectives, and an outcome. And then, once again...
Ooh, what is that?
Almost like he's aware of the fact that his definition is excluding a lot of games. He then says, Santiago might cite an immersive game without points or rules, but I would say then it ceases to be a game and becomes a representation of a story, a novel, a play, dance, a film. Those are things you cannot win, you can only experience them.
What?
Hasn't he
pretty
ever done
convenient.
A pick your own adventure, though? I mean, come on.
Pretty convenient for Raj to say that as soon as a game gains the characteristics that would make it art, it's no longer a game.
Switching your definition again.
Yeah.
Pretty convenient
moving the goalpost.
of him.
That's over this way now.
Yeah. He would do great in the current political climate with this his amazing ability to push a goalpost 100 yards in the opposite direction from where it once was.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, he's saying that at the point that your game ceases to have points, it's no, and it has a narrative, then it's just not a game anymore.
Yeah, exactly. He's saying that the nexus of what makes a game a game is points, rules, goals, and a challenge to overcome.
I'm gonna look up a definition of like what is a game. So let me.
Well, and to his credit, I think that's actually not the worst definition. That isn't a bad definition of a game.
No.
But what it's doing...
He won't admit it, though. Like, he wouldn't give it the, credit. He'd be like, well, technically at that point, it's not a game anymore. It's an experience. It's like, well, no. Like, you still get a game over. You still have a goal to accomplish. It's just, it's linear or open, but you have an end goal in mind.
Well, he's excluding the idea that, like, a video game can transcend the idea of, like, of a conventional game because of the immersive nature of it. Video games can.
Describing every game though, it's like a single player, game with a goal in mind that has a story that you experience, right? I don't know. My voice is getting high.
Well, because that's what we do when we. Okay, let's
again.
Oh,
I guess
that is a 100% completion.
Lower your phone.
On the holy city of our.
Oh, okay, there it is. Okay.
100% complete. So
back it up.
Kylia's not fooling. She's a pro gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And
so I found Oxford.
I need my words.
Oxford definitions of game, right? So one is noun, a form of play or sport, especially a competitive one, played according to the rules and decided by skill, strength, or luck. Okay, that's. I don't think that discounts anything that was said. Maybe it's close to his definition. And number two, a complete episode or period of play ending in a definite result. So like a baseball game, or let's say a video game. You play through an experience, whether there's points or not.
Yeah.
It can be an experience, whether it's competitive, it's cooperative, etc. So I think even though he's trying to play fast and loose with definitions and switching them out for when they start to contradict his view of this, no, he doesn't get to. I think this doesn't say that once a game doesn't have scores, etc., it ceases to be a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially he's saying that once you remove those core elements of what he considers to make it a game, it's no longer a game.
Right. And I think
his proposal.
Probably, if you were to buy into that argument, I don't. But one of the counter things, if I was a Roger Ebert apologist, if that's a thing in this case, if I was, I think his counterpoint would be like, what, if this is how I'm defining how games are, can you find a piece of art that has the first part of his definition, like, the scores or objective, etc. And so, like, one way to combat that would be to, like, think of something that might be more broadly considered art and say, okay, well, it does have those qualities. But that's if you buy his definition at all. And I think it would be tough, because if you do constrain it to that, you have to think of a piece of art that's, like, interactive and has points or some sort of achievement. And I don't think anything jumps to my mind immediately. I'm sure with enough looking, maybe you can find some sort of, like, exhibit at the Museum of Modern Art that is in line with that. But I just don't think. I think if you constrain your definition so much that that's where you end up. I don't think you're starting out on decent footing.
I think Durandith has a great point. He says that he figured it out. Roger tried to play Castlevania and he crashed out.
Yep. Yeah. He rage quit. And
he didn't have three of his good friends there to encourage isn't the right word, but to torturously antagonize him into defeating the game. So that would have helped if he had Siskel and two of his good buddies there. But it doesn't sound to me like he was the kind of guy who'd have a lot of friends. So
no, and I agree with Kylie. Played an awful lot of games that I don't think qualify as games. Like, have you played Ord? Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of other ones too. Like, it's There's plenty of games that now, because you've taken...
Sorry, you mean as games according to his definition?
Right, exactly.
The points, yeah.
Okay.
Correct. I think now, because as games are still in a relative infancy, you've moved past their pushing boundaries. So now you have games that are just experiences. They don't always have definable goals. I mean, sometimes you just exist in the game and you walk around as a goose and hit people with things. I mean, there's kind of some goals in that game too, but you can really push the bounds of what the gamer experiences. And yeah, usually you're getting some sort of emotional reaction out of them.
I got a good example for a game.
Isn't that what supposed to have, though, is like an emotional reaction to it?
But only if they're art. Oh, wait.
Hold on, I got a good... So, what about the game? Have you guys heard of the Steam game? Hold on, I'm trying to find it. It's called... Is it called Banana or some... Yeah, it's just called Banana. It's literally a banana that you click, and that's the game.
Wait, what?
It has 81,000 people playing it right now.
Why are we playing this trash then? Corbin, get off this nonsense.
Its all-time peak was 917,000 people playing it at once. and
here we are playing this indie crap instead of Banana.
It has like all you do is like click it within a time frame and you unlock, more bananas, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, man,
are you proposing that game is a form of art?
I mean, yeah,
I'm not sure what I call that.
I mean,
somebody downloaded that game, was like, "This is stupid," got super mad. There, you evoked an emotion.
That's true.
It has.
It's like the guy putting the toilet in the museum. It's the same thing.
It has a mostly positive.
What new weapon?
So I would like to propose a game to art spectrum, where something like...
Hold on. Can I read the description of this amazing game real quick?
Of course.
Banana is a clicker game in which you click a banana. In Banana, you click the banana to gain even more bananas. Every 3 hours, you get dropped a banana. Each banana is also made by the community in Discord. Come hang with us and let's grow into something awesome. That's it.
That's fun. That sounds fun.
That's amazing.
Oh, and Judas and Kylie are talking about something called Rubber Duck Simulator. Judas said that game was boring on so many levels. Excellent. Adrian loves a screenshot for the game. I like your idea of a game. There's a spectrum. I think there's a spectrum of art too. Like things.
And on one end is like arcade game, like Centipede or something like that, which is wholly a game. There is no feeling to be evoked. There is no message being delivered to you.
I don't know. If you play through it and die frequently, you get pretty mad.
And again, it
looks cool.
This is my opinion. I'm not saying that this is necessarily like the whole, but this would be my approach to, because he's got a point that not all video games are art. That's true. But to say that none of them are art is a bizarre take. Because on one end, you'd have, and my proposal would be like arcade games, which are wholly a game, points, challenges. It fits all of his, little narrow definition. And then on the other end, you'd have something like modern, and Judas, let me cook, like a walking sim, that are fully meant to evoke a feeling and to get you to think about something about the human condition. In a way that you couldn't do with just a film.
Roman missiles, Jesus.
It's something that you have to be immersed into, to generate that feeling. Like that's my spectrum there. What do you guys think?
What spectrum?
I think that's. I gotta look up what ORD is. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Do you guys know what that is? All right, we got
no idea.
Artful Escape is art. Genesis Noir is art. Weird, maybe art. ORD is not art. Okay, I'm gonna look up some of these while I need a picture of these.
What about Brandon brought up Centipede, for example? You don't consider that game art, but there are art aspects of it, like the design of the pixels, the design of writing of the music, the gameplay. I feel like that is kind of all artful in itself. That had to come from someone's imagination and mind, and they had to put it into a medium that granted wasn't advanced for its time, but still resonates for decades.
And
Sure.
I mean, maybe you guys already touched on this, and I wasn't paying attention because I was engrossed in dragon combat
In
and
art.
But I mean, art is such a subjective thing, right? Like
Exactly,
you take,
yeah.
like modern art, and it's like it could be something as like a simple as like a black line on a white canvas, right? And someone goes, "Oh, that's art," and some people go, "Oh,
A
I really
banana
love
taped to
how
a wall.
that represents the duality of mankind," or some nonsense, right? And so, like, to define art, I think is just incredibly. I think it's actually impossible to really define what art is because it's
I agree.
so subjective. And for
It's
one person,
abstract.
someone
It's
looks at it and they go, "Oh, this is complete trash. I don't ever want to like look at this ever again." But I mean, it's still
Well, that actually is where
art.
that is where we started, which was Ebert talking about the definition, and then he kind of tried to cut down Santiago's definition and then proposed his own, and then immediately retreated and said that we could play with definitions all day. So he actually agrees with your point, as I think we all kind of do, that defining art is already almost an impossible task. But then, if that's the case, we have to be able to. We got to be able to try to draw some kind of boundaries, because if you say anything can be a thing, then nothing is that thing, is the issue. If there's no boundaries around a thing, then everything is that, and if everything is a thing, nothing's a thing. So we have to be able to draw some kind of boundaries, but they got to be loose.
Or everything is the thing.
Because we actually liked Santiago. Here, I'll read it for you again, Corbin. We actually liked Santiago's definition. Her definition was, art is the process of deliberately arranging elements in a way that appeals to the senses or emotions. So your comment about the black line and how some people see it as art, some people don't, that's actually, because the point of an abstract art piece in a lot of ways is to piss off people who are closed-minded about it, who only think that, like, oh, a beautiful painting is art and that's it. Like, well, no, art can be a lot of things if it makes you think.
And I think, though, it's probably worth talking, as you said, putting it on a spectrum of, like, you know, the guy who tapes a banana to the wall, do I put him on the same footing as Michelangelo? No, not in any sense of the word.
Agreed.
It's the same. It's okay. Walt Whitman, writer, right? I have a writing background. I hate Walt Whitman. I don't find his writing interesting, etc. Because what he does is he did stream of consciousness writing, and if we're gonna put writing in art, which I obviously think we can.
Yeah, agreed.
His poetry and things were stream of consciousness. He'd write down what came to mind. Very little editing, put it out into the world, and there are a lot of people who love his work, and I'm just like, he didn't edit. I'm not impressed by this, but I do get, like, I will say, like, he's got a prominent not following, like, he's on social media. He's long dead, but he's got a lot of people who his work speaks to them, and even though I think it's lazy to just put stuff out there and not edit it, it's just on that spectrum of it's a part of art that I don't resonate with. I don't put it on the same footing as the great artists, quote unquote, but it still is art.
I would really quick go back to the centipede, and because both John and Judas had brought up that there are lots of elements of art involved, things like the design, the music, that sort of stuff. And I would challenge you then, okay, but then do you consider like an NFL broadcast art? Because someone designed that logo, someone composed that music to draw you in.
There are artistic elements to it, but I wouldn't call it art.
But that's my point. Is that,
and as somebody who did in fact work on a nationally syndicated television show, like there are things about it that you're like, this is definitely not art. But there are things that you do that are artistic, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. There's an art to it.
But that's kind of my point, though, is that a thing containing artistic elements does not necessarily make the whole and piece of art. And I don't even know if I would go so far as to say that like something like Centipede isn't a piece of art. It's just that I think on the spectrum of art to game, I would call it 98% game, 2% art, something like that.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. It's 94% game.
Okay, we'll give them credit.
I don't know why.
we'll give them that extra 4 points for. And again, this is arcade games have awesome music. I'm not trying to come after anybody who's like lover or anything like that. It's just that
more for the sake of the stream.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm gonna sit there for like the next 20 minutes trying to figure that thing out.
But to try to engage with the question, I think that we need to be able to draw some kind of lines around it. Because if we just say that like anything is art, then it's like, well, okay, well then this conversation.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Yeah. I think that's fair.
We got
to
try to draw some lines, but it's not going to be like, we know it's going to be fuzzy around the edges. We know that. So I think, let's see, what was my next question? Let's see. Okay, so how about, so I kind of gave one for me, but do you guys have games that you enjoy? Chat, you too. Get in here, chat. Right now, chat. Pay attention.
Hey, don't yell at chat. Chat's a friend.
We love chat. Games you enjoy that you personally don't consider art. Do you guys have any examples?
Ooh, that's a tougher question. Oh.
Get that guy.
Man, I was gonna say, my first gut reaction was like, maybe I don't know if I can make an argument for, like, I've been playing it a lot recently, so it's on my head. It's Ninja Gaiden, but I don't think that counts because cutscenes. That game actually had storyline. So no, I think it is. I think it is probably ahead of its time in that respect. I'm gonna refill my coffee, but I'll think while I'm walking away and let you guys carry it for a moment.
Okay.
Coffee. Jesus.
I'll propose one. And again, there are clearly artistic elements in it, but I don't know that I would call something like Mario Kart. I don't know if I would call it art.
What would you call Mario World?
I don't even know if I would call I don't know if I'd call any of the Mario games art, because like, do they evoke a feeling or like an emotion within you? Like, do they make you think about, I guess, working off of Santiago's definition?
I would say a game like Mario Kart.
Thank you, Five. I'm wrong.
The existential crisis of life.
Italians.
Squish turtles, brother.
Squash and turds, brother. But I was trying to think of, there's a lot of art that goes into, Judas, I agree, but I agree that this is what we were talking about before, though, where there's artistic elements in it, but having artistic elements, does that make the whole thing itself art? That's a tougher question for me to think about. John, go ahead, John.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you play even a video game in general, just not necessarily Mario Kart, it invokes some kind of feeling within you, like happiness? Like if you're playing Mario, you're like, oh, I feel whimsical. There's sun shining in this game. I'm jumping on like greens. I don't think I've ever thought to myself
that I feel whimsical.
Corbin does not enjoy video games. That's right.
I don't think that's ever a word that I'm like, man, I feel very whimsical today.
I feel like I've seen Corbin whimsical.
But I mean, I'm sure I have been. But that was a funny
Back in
choice
college
of
when
word.
you used to wear that weird tan coat and wander around.
Oh God, I miss that thing.
Wait, did we both have a weird tan coat? I had that like burnt orange coat, the party coat. You remember?
Yeah, I remember the party
coat. I do.
That was party Brandon.
Actually a navy tan, like a naval uniform, but it was their like dress tan. That I used to wear.
Beautiful.
I would say you were whimsical because you also had your Axl Rose hair, and sometimes you had pants on, sometimes you didn't.
You could put into pigtails. Oh, that was the thing of beauty.
Oh, this is gonna be
I missed Dranit's comment. It seems to be mostly on the same page. He says that I would say that original arcade style games, for the most part, probably weren't art, and that's kind of where I'm at. Where it's like they certainly contain artistic elements, but I think that as a whole, it's tough to call them art versus primarily a game. I guess is the question. Is maybe that's a better way to put it. Is that or we're trying to look at video games and say, okay, are there examples of these things that are primarily art?
Is it a complete work of art in and of itself?
Right. Yeah. So do you guys have? I proposed mine.
Did you guys already talk about Mario Kart? Did I walk back in and?
So I said that was my first one that I proposed for like a game that I'm not sure I would call it art. Yeah.
Here's the example I thought of when I went to go refill this cup. You can take a game that I've played like a million times, exactly, Judas, Pong, right? So you take and there's not, look, you can probably try to wax philosophical to try to make it into something. I don't think it's worth doing. I think that is all game. But if you were to change it just a little bit, I think you could tweak it into art. For instance, and I don't know why this jumped to mind, but what if every time the ball got hit by the flippers, like it just played like tormented screaming noises. Like the ball was being hurt every time it went back and forth, and so every time you're playing, it's this endless series of inflicting pain on the ball, and it's just like, and you have to, like, you're trying to win, and so you have to make the decision between bouncing the ball back, causing it more pain, and then letting, or do you let it score on you? Like, make it really easy. Make Pong really easy, so it's so easy to deflect the ball back that the gamer has to choose between listening to the torment of the ball and then, or do you finally give up and let it be free?
That's one of the most sadistic things I think I've ever heard.
Thank you.
What was that? There was an experiment that was done where there were people in a room and other people had the button.
It's a Stanford prison experiment.
Yeah, that immediately made me think of that. I think that if we made that game, that might be one of the most artistic games ever.
Chat, don't steal that Pong idea. That's a great idea. That
Pain Pong?
SPS trademark.
Rights
SPS
for the
trademark.
name.
Brandon, yell SPS trademark. That's how it works.
SPS trademark. SPS trademark. I'm going to type it in chat too.
As you can see, Judge, we were yelling SPS trademark with.
I said morons in an Italian accent there. That's what that was.
God, the super shotgun does so much damage. This thing is insane, dude.
Enjoy this. Yeah, now we have to make that.
We sure do. I know some people who understand basic programming. We can make this happen.
All right.
Okay. So one last question before we get back to the article. One of the things that Ebert used to kind of disqualify games from being an art form was interactivity, which is a choice.
Ridiculous. That's like half of art. You don't have art if you don't have interactivity.
So Dranith has made Pong before. He has not made Pain Pong, but Dranith, that's as simple as the four of us screaming into a microphone and then you making that the ball.
Just some sound files just attached to
make it weird to just like soft sobbing too. Like starts at soft sobbing and just slowly grows.
Each hit is like I
don't know why my brain is this way.
Why is your
really
sexual, Brandon?
I was gonna say I got to be careful. I think we're gonna get flagged with some of the noises I just made.
It's like
I'm enjoying myself, Twitch, but not that much.
So
sorry, yeah. So he says the interactivity of games, the interactivity of games that Ebert found disqualifying, is, in my opinion, is actually a boon to games as art, because in a narrative, like story-focused game, it being interactive allows you to build a connection between you and the characters rather than just observing the connection between characters like in a book or on screen.
And you can't.
So good.
Just like the interactivity just riles me, because that's most of art.
Exactly.
You can argue. I mean, look, if you hang a painting in the forest and nobody knows about
You're
it,
still looking at it. Yeah,
nobody's appreciating it. So that's half the battle is lost. And a lot of art is how you interact with it, how it affects you. Whether the banana on the wall makes you angry or whatever. And so what? One of the I think it's technically a sculpture that makes me sad every time I see it. Have you seen, I can't remember what it's called, but it's the robot arm that the whole exhibit was, it leaks hydraulic fluid. And the robot arm is just programmed to squeegee the hydraulic fluid back into itself, but it slowly loses the battle. So over the week of this experiment, it gets slower and slower because it can't possibly try to keep all this fluid from running out of itself. It is the saddest thing I've ever seen. And it's a robot arm. It's not a living creature, but the way that it was portrayed, my interaction with it was... It did. I was just like, this is so sad. Why did you make this? Now I'm sad.
A useless existence where all your brain
there's so much you can read into it.
Continue to save yourself. Yeah.
And you interact and you appreciate it.
To play devil's advocate for Ebert here, I think when he's saying interactive, I think that he means that you are participating in the process of the creation, so to speak. But then that becomes really weird, because then that means that his definition is that art is something to be consumed or commodified.
Right. And he didn't like that. Was he the kind of guy who, like, his kid was finger painting and he's like, that's garbage? You didn't. That's not art. You participated.
No, that would be art because that was not done for remuneration. So that's the only pure art is a child finger painting.
But they were interactive in it.
But,
Roger Ebert is whimsical.
So you guys keep talking about like it has to be interactive and for somebody to appreciate it, right? Like, what is your take on like performative art? Like, not like I'm not talking like
Deep Space
acting
Nine.
and singing and dancing and things like that, but like, you know, somebody shows up on stage and they're like, I don't know, using like a angle grinder on a metal cod piece and like they consider that art, like this performative art kind of stuff. Like, how does that, what are your thoughts on how that plays into?
Well, I've seen that live and it definitely evokes emotion.
Or at a wrestling event where a young lady comes out
I'm
in
listening.
a bustier with a bunch of lasers attached to it, and then fills the room with smoke and then dances around. Like, is
That's
that
obviously art.
Yeah.
We were all weeping
art.
at that performance.
Yeah.
So
So
that is art.
I think the main contention right now is that, and again, this is Ebert. I'm playing devil's advocate for Ebert here. I'm not agreeing with his position, but Max and Sean are pointing out that like you have to interact, you have to see it at least. You have to, in order for something to be, art, and for it to evoke emotion, you have to interact with it at least in the sense of like seeing it. And I think what Ebert is saying is that, exactly. Sorry, in the case of music,
some
listening,
sense,
right?
you know,
You have to consume it with
interaction,
some kind of your senses. You have to experience it, I guess would be a better
Yeah.
way. If you have no experience of it, how can you? But Ebert's contention isn't that you don't experience it that way. He's talking about interacting with the creation of the art. So it would be like, but boy, it just breaks down so
It's a
quickly
medium
because
that is an exact dialogue between the participant and the artist, because the programmer sets up the game so that you can play it and it tells you a story, or maybe there's no story, it's just an experience, and then you as the player get to live in that world that they made, and it's like an exact actual dialogue between the two of you. It's like more beautiful than most art.
in a I guess an example I can think of for like performative art that would kind of correlate to this would be like let me cook. The performance of a magician is an art form, I would argue.
Oh, yeah,
the way that it's presented, the way that it's but so if he pulls an audience member up on stage to participate or become part of the trick, is it suddenly not art for that audience member because they participated in it? Because there's it just doesn't make any sense to me. That that's where again his arguments and definitions here are just so narrowly tailored to attack a medium that he is clearly immediately biased against and won't listen to arguments for. That it's like he ignores it's like he didn't know thinking as far as like counter examples to his claims. It's just bam, claim, bam, claim, bam, claim. And if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. And it's like, Raj, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, Adriana's perfectly said. Yep. Arguing in bad faith. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think it's just he had this opinion. He's just I've been that guy. I've definitely been that guy. Especially younger Max. Like, if I thought I was right about something, like, my opinion was final. And usually that opinion might have been about something in the art world. Like, I would have said, if you asked me 20 years ago when I was getting my English degree about Walt Whitman, I would have given you pretty much the same speech. That hasn't changed. Like, that hasn't changed. I never did like him. I would have said back then, though, this isn't art. Now I disagree with 20-year-old Dr. Max, I say. That is just, it's art, but it's not art I like. It's not art that I appreciate as very high, but fine, it's art. I've grown a lot as a person.
And I can understand your point, and I can sympathize. The first time Ebert said this, he was in his 60s, and the second time where he reaffirmed it stronger, he was almost 70. So I have less sympathy for that. Where it's like, come on, man.
I'm in my ways.
Yeah, that's
that's what it feels like.
Definitely feels like.
So, a wonderful example, and this is, I'm just gonna keep being a one-trick pony, so just get used to me bringing these up. Referring to the connection that you can build by participating in the art piece, like in a game. One of the strongest ones for me is actually, before I do that, let's see. Durant says, when movies started, they also weren't considered art. And knowing the original movies, they probably, yeah, that's a good. All forms of art begin as like people kind of going against it and pushing, but no, this cannot be. So games are going to get their due soon. But one of the top ones for me is the feelings that are evoked in you when you're playing the Souls games. And
rage
in the games, yeah, exactly. In the games, characters in universe are dealing with the problem of going hollow, which is when the merciless world that they're in beats them down to the point that they eventually lose all hope, they lose their purpose, they give up, and they become mindless beings like the zombie things you're fighting in the games.
Okay.
On a meta level, because of the difficulty of the games and the way the games are structured, you don't realize it until you've played these games a couple of times, but that's actually what is happening to you as the player. Is that you die, you immediately respawn at wherever you last saved at, so you're not dead, the game isn't over, but the only way for you to actually lose the game is to lose your hope, to lose your sense of purpose, and to give up. You have to actively give up, turn it off, push the controller away. Otherwise, it's never over. And that is a feeling that would be nearly impossible to evoke in an audience member just watching a film. It's so much stronger by literally putting the player through the thing that the characters in the universe are going through. And that, if that isn't art, if literally drawing you in that strongly and making you experience what the characters in the game are going through on a meta level, if that isn't art, like, come on, Raj.
Seriously. No, I think it's a great argument.
But okay, I'm gonna play a little bit of devil advocate here.
Let's do it.
And as somebody who inherently, my own personality is wildly stubborn about a lot of shit. Like, and it is both a blessing and a curse in a lot of ways, right? But when it comes to a game where like Elden Ring is a fantastic example, another FromSoft game like you mentioned, and like that game just gave me the biggest headache. And there were times where I was like, this isn't even fun, but I'm so stubborn that I'm not gonna give up. And it didn't feel like art. It felt like a weird like grueling trudge through something I didn't want to do, but out of my own
being punished.
My own just personality, I was like, no, like screw you. I'm finishing this. I'm gonna get through it. So is that really art? Is that invoking the emotion, or is it just like it's?
And it might not be for you.
Like to people's like own like patience and natural like chase for dopamine and like self-gratification. So like in that sense, like, is it really art that they're trying to like invoke stuff and like tie you into the story of what those characters in the game are doing? Or is it just like something as purely simple as we're basically monkeys that are driven by dopamine and things that make us feel good, and we're just going to do stuff
that a lot.
We want to see demons slaughtered at the end of or whatever it is. I'm a fake Souls fan. I just called myself out. And yeah, see, Durant said exactly what I was thinking, which is people don't necessarily have the exact same reaction to a piece of art, which is for you and I should have prefaced that. That's my personal experience with it. Like when I had that realization of how it like translated to me, I was like shocked by it. Like it was such a like profound, sorry to cheapen that word, but it like struck me when I had that realization. Whereas for you, it was just like the quote that people do for the Souls games, like, this is a role-playing game. What role am I playing? The victim? It's more of just like Sorry, Sean, go ahead.
No, but doesn't that just dismiss, Ebert's argument in general? Like everyone experiences art differently? Like,
and that's also a very true statement. Like having gone through film school, we talked about like, the art of film and the invoking of emotion, and really the whole goal of any story is to evoke an emotion. Nothing specific, like, okay, we're supposed to feel this or that, like everybody's going to feel it differently, but as long as you evoked an emotion out of the audience, then essentially did your job.
And maybe one of my last examples of like, if you've never played the Nier games, Nier, play those and finish them. I was like legit messed up after beating Automata for like a week. Like that evoked things in me. That made me think about the like humanity and just the human condition, and it did a lot to me. So like games like I think about things like that and the ability that they have to.
Oh, there you go, Corbin.
Oh, I like this.
They made me feel things a lot deeper than
Brandon. But
oh, sorry. Oh, hang on. Let me switch over
because you're not watching it.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I need you to know why we were interrupting you rudely.
It's quite all right because it evoked
Corbin. It's fun.
It evoked a feeling within you. So
it did. It was you got a flail.
A feeling that needed to be shared. Okay,
absolutely.
So you guys have that Nier and the Souls games are kind of my big two. Let's see, real quick, Dranith. The whole going hollow thing is kind of specific to the storyline of Dark Souls games as well. It's not related to Elden Rings. That's true. Yeah, that is. So it is more of a thing that I realized while going through the Souls games, is that like that was my interpretation of like what the game, and maybe that could have been me justifying in my head that like, oh, it's this really deep, profound thing. Maybe that was my way of justifying why I was almost putting holes in pieces of furniture while playing those damn games.
What is that?
It's a take. You just blew up. You're good.
So those are my two of like games that really made me feel something and really connected with me. Does the class have any they would like to share?
Honestly, for me,
you too, chat.
Yeah, like one that comes to my mind and is honest and is represented by the country of Japan is Ghost of Tsushima.
Nice.
I think that game's a piece of art.
about
this
that.
flail is rad. Yes. I like this. I like this a lot.
What's how does it? You told me about that game a long time ago, Sean. Like what was what were the details of it?
So, actually, let me bring it up. So, Ghost of Tsushima is recognized by Tsushima as an accurate representation of their culture. As a piece of artwork.
The game is also like deliberately shot. There's even a mode called it's kind of a love letter to Akira Kurosawa. I think he's a director.
The
samurai films.
Japanese director.
Right. There's actually even a mode in the game which is Kurosawa mode, which it turns it.
The Seventh Samurai.
Seventh Samurai is one of his most famous. For
where
sure.
The game is black and white and it's only in Japanese, and like there's actually a Kurosawa mode you can play the game through.
Excellent.
Yeah, the story is really, man, I like the story because it gets to as a lot of the kind of samurai stories do. It gets to the heart of like, okay, is your honor worth anything if you can't like achieve your goals with it?
Fair.
It calls to mind an old Sylvanas Windrunner quote, which is honor is meaningless to a corpse, which it's
fair.
Is living to your it makes you wonder, is living to your ideals meaningful if they are not producing a result for you? Are your ideals then worth anything? That's a tough
interesting question. It's an interesting
question.
That's
a tough question, yeah. And I'm not
completely stubborn bastard who will stand on principle to his own detriment. I say yes, it is worth it.
I have Last of Us 1, Dranith. I've never played it.
What?
But I do have it on my. I know. I have it. It came with my PlayStation 4. I bought a PS4 just for the Final Fantasy VII remake. Which, by the way,
if you have not played Last of Us, like when you want to talk about art, like that is. There are a few games that I can think of that, from a like game mechanic standpoint and story, that were as like complete as that game. Like that whole game was probably one of the best games I think ever created. I'll be honest, and it was because the story was so good on top of like just fantastic gameplay.
Yeah, I also have not played it because it came out
thing?
when I wasn't playing video games. It came
Oh,
out
right.
around, I think, when I was in medical school or
It did.
residency, and I just didn't have time to play games. So I missed a lot of it, but I've always heard that about it. And a lot of those games, like one of the things I really appreciated as games got more intricate and studios started putting money into things like writing and then character building, etc. Like that got to be so much more fun. I mean, there used to be, you'd have a game, there's kind of a story, but the writing behind the story wasn't a big focus, and that changed when they started putting that effort in. And you ended up with games like that, like Last of Us, you know, where you had this really compelling story. And I think that's, you know, when you start talking about the spectrum of games that are more games to art, that's where you really start pushing that boundary.
Mm-hmm. Like, I would argue that something like the original Legend of Zelda is like, what, maybe 90-10? Because the story is the princess.
Yeah, that's fair.
But there's a lot of cool art and there's a lot of cool music and, you know, that goes into it. And then a game like Breath of the Wild might be like perfect 50-50 between game and art, where there's a gripping story. It's like the first Zelda game where it's like you literally start out having already lost. And you're kind of questioning if there's a world worth saving at the start of it. Like there's a lot of cool stuff that goes into that. And I think that maybe some of this, I think that a lot of like the cool story stuff. I know at least 3 of us here are fans of JRPGs. For me, that's where a lot of this started. Like Final Fantasy VII was my first JRPG, which is why it's my favorite. Let's be honest, it's a nostalgic thing. But it also was like the first game that I played with an imperfect hero, and that evoked quite the feeling in me. Whereas like you don't have to be perfect, you don't even have to be really good to be like
Cloud was very flawed.
Cloud was extremely flawed. He was messed up. He had mental health issues. He had imposter
PTSD.
syndrome. He had Cloud
Man,
had.
I'm worried that you're gonna make me replay this and I won't hate it anymore. It's kind of part of my identity.
Don't do it. We like you as you are, and the last thing I want you to do is change. You're too old for that.
It's true.
But like, that's why
Judas points out that there's a number of games, you know, that hit him emotionally, like BioWare games. You know, has developed many memorable characters that you get attached to in their games. Tell
Mass
amazing
Effect
stories.
2.
Yeah, I know you boys are big Mass Effect
The whole
fans.
Mass Effect series was just fantastic. And it came down to like a really good narrative. And as somebody that played a lot of Call of Duty,
let Bear out. I'll be back.
Narrative free.
Hi, Bear.
There are times where it's like, I just want to play a game that has a good story. Like, just guide me through it. It doesn't need to be open world. Just guide me through a really awesome story. And some of those were like, what was it? I think it's called Requiem Tale.
Plague's Tale or whatever.
Plague's Tale. That's what I'm thinking of. It was like Plague's Tale Requiem is like the sequel. And it's like, it takes place in like sometime Europe during the plague. And just, it's a really interesting story. And like, that's what you're playing. And it was like, God, this is just really satisfying. Cause it's like, it's not so much based on just the combat. Like, yes, it has that element, but it's like, you're playing a story. And it was like, that just feels good. Versus, you know, playing Call of Duty where the whole thing is just, we're just out here shooting stuff kind of mindlessly.
Yeah.
Not that I don't mind that.
It's like a fighting game.
Yeah.
Like fighting games are examples of like they're fun
they're
to
probably
play.
They're probably more on the game side than the art side, but there's so much cool art involved. Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm here for a few minutes, honestly, and I'll go let him back in.
Here's something I'll say too. Like, I play a lot of those games because you kind of get to see, as a martial artist, different forms of martial arts or how they're portrayed in a video game as a fighting style. And I think that part is really kind of interesting to me, at least, because I have a background in martial arts, and I think that stuff's really interesting and kind of, you know, a different form of art. Is that like, oh, I can look at that and be like, okay, this guy's background is Muay Thai. Let's see how this knows with the Muay Thai I know. And like, honestly, too, here's a weird thing. I'm not sure if it's necessarily connected to art, but it's kind of like, oh, how can I implement this in like what I do for fun in martial arts? Like, can I implement this? Is this viable? Is this, you know, something that will work in a real life aspect? And I think a lot of that is kind of like more physical representation of art, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
which is like nonetheless a representation of art.
Sort of things.
Yeah.
I was just saying, like the form and flow of human body, etc., like how it's portrayed.
Exactly. Yeah.
To put us all on blast. Professional wrestling. If it's not art, it's nothing.
It's fair. It's fair.
It is in my opinion, the ultimate performance art. It is wholly predicated on getting the audience to interact with it in order to evoke feelings and emotion. Essentially, it's a live play with booms and bangs.
Live action stunts.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say stunts, with portrayals of action. I don't know.
Yeah. Spots. Not stunt spots.
Stunts.
Yeah, stunts. But okay. I think we kind of got the juice out of that bit. Is Max's? We'll kind of circle a bit. Let Max come back. But let's see. We're talking. Oh, go ahead, John.
Here's a game that I know a few of you haven't played, and I'm sure some guys in chats have, guys and ladies. And I think it's a phenomenal piece of art. It's very different, but like Undertale. That was such a unique experience of a game that I'd never played before. And it was very easy to just kind of get lost in. It's very much in the vein of like Earthbound, like,
What's the guy's name? Todd something.
That's me.
What's his name? Or Tyler? What the heck's the creator's name?
Yeah, it was like one guy who did it too, which was like,
yeah, trying to help.
Pretty bonkers that he
Toby Fox. He did the music too, right?
Yeah, the music is phenomenal. Like,
the
whole experience is amazing, and it's like a short game, but like has multiple pathways. It tells a unique story. The characters are very different and unique.
It immediately offers you a really compelling choice because there's a pacifist playthrough. You don't have to fight ever.
No.
In the game. Is that the good ending? That might be the good ending, actually.
That is the good ending, yeah.
Yeah, so it immediately presents you with a game that gives you the option
morality
to fight.
Issues, yeah.
But you shouldn't in order to get the good ending, which is, again, these are things that are being presented to you that you don't get to make a decision like that when consuming a piece of art that has been wholly prepared and presented by someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no decision-making process, so to discount all that and say that immediately makes it not art is just it's literally just old man yelled at Cloud. It's such a, and not our beautiful anime husband Cloud. Those ones. Yes.
No.
With his issues, so we still love him.
Okay.
I like before I have to go let the dogs back in and stuff. I think one of the games, and actually Sean's credit is he got it for me. He's like, you're gonna like this, and
I know what I could say.
Yeah, Disco Elysium was surprisingly deep as an artistic experience. It is. I mean, have you guys, besides Sean, of course, have you guys played it, heard of it, know it?
Heard of it. I've never played it.
Yeah, it's Dranoff, you definitely need to play it. It's sort of similar to the point-and-click adventures of yesteryear, the LucasArts games, etc. But like, you play this. It's sort of a futuristic world. It's not like
very cyberpunk,
but it's very cyberpunky. Yeah. And the thing that was different, like the voice acting is stellar. But the way that the story is told, you play the main character, but you're also sort of battling his mental illness at the same time. And the mental illness is a character, and it's just so well done. It was, and it was an indie game, I believe, right? It was an indie game studio.
Oh yeah, I think so. Let's see.
I remember playing it and just going, this is such a complete artistic experience. This is just like, the story is excellent, the acting is excellent, the writing and concept are all excellent. And I just remember thinking, this is such a cool thing. Thank you, Sean. I wouldn't have known about it. And I would just say...
Yeah, the thing about that game too is like, you could play through that game and, well, you don't die. Every decision you make affects the story in some way too. So it's like,
right. Yeah,
Disco
I just
Elysium.
remember thinking it's a step up.
It's a 2019 role-playing video game developed and published by ZA/UM. So yeah, I would say probably an indie company. I never heard of them. ZOM. Yeah. It's ZA/UM. The game was written and designed by a team led by Estonian novelist Robert Kurvits and executive producer Kar Kender, and features an art style based on oil painting with music by the English band British Sea Power.
Yep. Now, and the paint art style is very unique. It's very enjoyable.
That's what I recognize the most about it. Is the very unique art style that went into it. So very cool.
I remember playing that, going like, this is a work of art. As one of the, I never really gave this topic a ton of thought. I was just like, I just assumed video games were art, but I remember thinking like, this is higher art.
Yeah, this is Walt Whitman garbage. This is real art. Walt Whitman. Okay, we haven't been angry. We haven't been angry for a while, so I'm gonna get back to Ebert's article real quick if everyone's okay with that.
Corbin stripped the heart out of a demon beast force thing.
So
I'm sure cake up like that on some levels.
No cap.
So Ebert, even though he earlier stated that playing with definitions isn't a good idea, he keeps going back to it. He cites what he calls the artist's soul or vision, which I have in my notes, more flowery a language with no substance. He states that some artists' paintings are masterpieces, and some are very bad indeed. How do we tell the difference? We know. It is a matter, yes, of taste.
I thought he was going to say, we ask critics. Do we, Roger Ebert? We ask critics to lead us through the world. That's not what he said.
No, his argument of how you know when something is art is you know.
Well, then
you just know,
subjectivity.
Your argument
is
right at this point. Yeah.
Why did you write this article then?
Yeah. Be a hater. Number one player hater. Roger Ebert.
Yeah. So Santiago presents a series of examples in her article, and Ebert kind of goes through them. However, he's only engaging with the still screenshots because he's only engaging with her video, right? And in her video, she presents some screenshots from some games, and he looks at these screenshots and he draws pretty wild conclusions about what the games are. He makes sure to say that one looks like a brainless shooting gallery, and without ever having experienced them. And it's just, I just love that he's, talking about brainless shooting galleries, and hell yeah, we're playing Doom. Hell yeah, we are. Not to say that Doom is, but the point being that, this is a critique as old as Roger Ebert, that this is all video games are, is just because this is, a pretty hedonistic pursuit of enjoyment here with games like Doom, which we love that. You should be able to enjoy that. Why wouldn't you? It's just it's a dopamine hit, like we were saying earlier, Corbin. It's just hitting your dopamine receptors and triggering that.
Well, and here's something I would say to that.
Just destroyed right now.
Go ahead, John.
Art should invoke feelings, and I feel like this game invokes a very primal feeling. It
makes a power fantasy.
Primal. Yeah, that's what it is.
Power fantasy for sure.
And is that considered art? I would think so, because it makes you feel something. It influences you to feel something.
Well, aren't you stupid? Because it's not influencing you to feel the feelings that Roger Ebert thinks you should feel, so it's not art.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't ask Roger if it was the correct feeling for you to have, Sean.
So what feeling am I supposed to have playing this? I'm not supposed to have any feelings.
I don't know.
No feelings at all. None.
One of the examples.
I was going to say something mean, but I'm going to retort myself.
Yeah, we're going to try not to speak ill of the dead here. Well, any more than we already have. But one of the examples that Santiago brings up, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this one or not, is Braid. And if Braid isn't an artistic game, come on. Are you guys familiar?
No. I've heard. I know what it is. I've never played it, so.
I don't
it's like a side scroller.
Yeah, it's like a weird Mario game, but isn't the big twist that you're the bad spoiler?
Yeah,
you're the bad guy, right?
Correct. As it's ostensibly like a saving the princess story at the start of the game, and as you progress through it, it becomes apparent that I think you end up having to play the game backwards at one point. And what's actually happening is you are the monster pursuing a woman who does not want to be with you, and she's being aided by what you thought was the antagonist in her, who's actually the hero, who's helping her escape from you. And it's like,
yeah,
and
it's twist, but
even Santiago, I think, kind of misses the mark on when she's presenting Braden in this video. She says that it's about learning from your past, and I sort of, because you can I think you can rewind time or something in it. Let's see. Duranda says Braid has interestingly multiple interpretations, which is often something that happens with art. Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
So,
bingo.
But Ebert can't know this. Ebert can't know that because he dismisses it out of hand because it's a game. So he can't engage with the idea because of the medium.
Yeah. Oh, that's satisfying.
Which is just so irritating that he keeps getting back to this.
Move the goalpost, like we said. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. A weird thing, and this is actually a kind of a topic that is a little interesting to me because I'm not super sure how to feel about this. During his rant about games not being art, he also, one of the games that Santiago presented is a game called Waco Resurrection. And it's about that. Let me get to it. I don't remember the name of the.
I didn't even know this game. Let's be real.
Yeah. Whereas you play as David Koresh defending the Branch Davidian compound against FBI agents. I knew it was like a famous. Yeah, it was like a famous. I don't know if terrorist is the right word, but like showdown between
kind of
like the FBI and like a cult kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
was it Red State was like a kind of spin off of that, right?
What is this?
I think, I'm not sure.
Your Ninja Turtles level. Your Ninja Turtles swimming level. Have fun.
Judas,
Corbin.
exactly. Yeah, he just dismisses the medium instead of engaging with it like a real honest critic. And it's like Duranda said earlier, where it's arguing in bad faith. You're not actually engaging with the argument. You're just saying that it has this characteristic, so boom, it's immediately disqualified. But when he's talking about this Waco Resurrection game, which admittedly does sound a little silly, but he makes a comment in there that he watched a documentary about Waco, and he didn't consider the documentary to be art.
Dip, dive, and dodge. Sorry.
And I don't know how I feel about that. That he doesn't consider documentaries to be an art form.
But has he seen anything? What's it? That guy's name, Ken Burns?
Yeah, that's a tough one for me because documentaries are highly informative and they're essentially just presenting facts to you, but generally they are organized in such a way to provoke a sense of emotion or a feeling from you while presenting those facts, while telling the story. It's weird because it feels like a documentary is telling a factual story, like a real life story that happened. And again, he's kind of dismissing it out of hand by saying that doesn't make it, that means it's not art.
It's too bad he didn't live long enough to see Tiger King, or else that would have changed.
Oh, there's some feelings. There's some. It's
one of the greatest shows of our lifetime.
Show of a show. Holy shit!
He has so many exclusionary opinions. He's so gatekeepy about what is art.
Oh yeah.
Without ever without being able to present a satisfying definition, or without really being able to present satisfying arguments even.
He sounds like the gatekeeper, like the guy who was the OG of a band and then gets pissed when other people like the band he likes. It's like, dude, who cares?
It's very strange. I gotta wait for Max to be back for this next bit because this is where we're basing the last couple of paragraphs of the article. Then there's it ends on some pure gold, like the lack of self-awareness and it's pretty impressive. So we'll Judas disagrees. He is not a fan of Tiger King.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
he's not wrong.
Some people's opinions are just wrong, and that's okay.
That's true. Max doesn't like Final Fantasy VII, and he's clearly wrong. So
I don't like any of the Final Fantasy games. So there's
wrong too.
If we can get Corbin and Max to do a playthrough on stream, I'll be very happy.
On Final Fantasy.
That's what we get out of this
Is there a co-op Final Fantasy?
Dude, I
15.
already don't like
Nice.
That'd be the best one.
turn-based RPGs. Like Expedition 34 at least has like an active element.
33. Yeah, you gotta kill them. Smash them with their flail. Yeah, but
Chad, if you had to vote, Sean, you get in on this too. What's the worst Final Fantasy? What are we going to put them through? Is it 13?
I couldn't get into 13. I would say 13. I feel like I know Max would probably feel more comfortable doing like one of the older ones, like
For sure.
1, 2, or 3 or 4, something like that.
He might be okay with. He might like 6.
Expedition Rule 34, exactly. Judas. That's
Judas.
That's really good.
Amazing.
Naughty Judas.
That's really good.
Yeah, he's not
Wait, isn't
wrong.
it rule?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say
Corbin hates video games, says Keiko for sure.
I hate video games. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, what's he doing right now?
I hate bad video games. Like
He's making art out of these corpses in front of him. Corbin is the artist.
Brandon, you know what'd be great? Have them play 8 to try and wrap their head around that junction system and be like, what?
If they ever remake 8, if they remake 8 without the draw and junction system, I think it would get like
great.
massively more popular. I think people would give it. I think the junction system was just so controversial, and partially because people like the materia system so much in 7.
Yeah. But even to this day, like I watched the tutorial for the junction system. I'm like, I get it now, but I'm like,
right,
really, like this is not easy to follow. Like this is difficult. Like,
when we were like 14 or whatever it was when that game came out, and we'd played like 3 JRPGs. It was a little tough.
yeah, it was a very complex system.
I will be replaying 8 before too long.
And
though.
tedious.
I've been getting the itch for some
Sorry
reason.
for the prolonged absence. I'm back.
You're right. So I
good.
saved the last like 2 paragraphs of the Dranith, I agree. It's you can get really overpowered using the junction system, but it's just
game breaking.
Yeah, but it's just really difficult to wrap your head around. I didn't like 8 when I was younger because I didn't like Squall, but as I've gotten older, I really appreciate him as a character. Yeah, I really appreciate what he represents. Like when I was younger, I liked Cloud because he was bravado. He was like Mr. Badass swagger. Yeah, and then I really liked him when I found out how broken he was, and for some reason that didn't carry over to Squall, which it should have. I was a crappy kid. Who knows? I was young, stupid.
We're just
kids are dumb.
Yeah,
that is the main point of this stream.
So dumb.
Yeah. Okay, so
Kids
last couple
dumb.
paragraphs here.
They don't have the experience to be smart.
Yeah, it's not their fault they're dumb.
I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I didn't say it was.
it's their parents'
Some of them
fault.
it is.
Okay, so last couple paragraphs here. Ebert, to wrap things up, he goes on to chastise gamers for seeking validation. So he starts complaining in the article of like, to the gamers who want me to say that video games are art, why do you even care what I think?
Jacob goes, Mr. Cool Dude has a gun sword.
And Judas says, I disagree with you, Jacob. and then Jacob laughs raucously. I think that's what they said there.
Yes. Yes.
So what a cowardly way to get towards the wrap up of your article. After gamers didn't write to Roger Ebert first and
just
say,
shitting
"Hey,"
on him for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, gamers didn't like march up to the Ebert
I like what's
Palace,
happening up there.
Yes.
boot the door
appreciate
open,
that.
and say,
Fight.
In the background, just 2 big boys fighting it out.
and say, "Hey,
Those are-
Raj,
Those are the mech suits that you can get. You can get in one of those things. It's pretty rad.
wait, which the thing doing the big punch right now? You can get in that?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
That's just so freaking cool right there.
Exactly. Come on now. Where else can you experience this other than video games? I mean,
So-
movies,
so-
but like not hands-on, you know?
Yeah, that is
Anyways.
super cool.
yeah, getting
so
in the
basically,
pilot.
Ebert was
the cockpit.
saying, so I was super distracted by how freaking cool this is.
By what?
And
By
I'm
what?
gonna need you to restate what he was talking about with validation.
And near the
et
end of the
cetera.
article, he
This
starts
broke Max's brain. I like it.
He
Yeah.
starts.
Like, I love
he starts
that.
wrapping up, and part of his wrap up is, And even after I say all this, I don't even know why you guys care what I think.
All right.
He's like, I don't know why
I love
gamers
that.
need. Well, I don't even know why gamers need my validation. And it's like, Roger, gamers didn't.
We'd ask you
march-
to.
Yeah.
You just start talking, bro.
Exactly. Gamers didn't march to your door, boot it in, and say like,
This
"Yo,
old
Raj."
guy needs to respect us.
Yeah, like, "Hey, Raj, tell me what you video games are or not." No one did that. You went on a panel in 2005 and you said that they can't be art. And then in 2012, you doubled down and said that they'll never be art, and that anyone who's alive right now will will not be alive long enough to experience them as such. So it's
Spoiler
like,
alert.
yeah.
Well, guess who's alive?
That's right. Yes, we win. But that is such a cowardly, such a cowardly move at the end of all that.
Oh yeah.
It's like the rhetorical equivalent of just asking questions. It's like,
Yeah.
you're saying a thing that is controversial, and then you back off to, I'm just asking questions, so you're... Like, no,
It's
you're hiding
like,
behind
whoa.
that because you don't want to assume the consequences of what you
Really,
said.
just that's a way of saying like, I'm about to be a dick, but I don't want to sound like I'm being a dick. But
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, I don't want the
exactly
consequences
right.
of
Yeah.
sounding that way. That's the other way I think about it.
We brought this exact situation up in the BS episode, which is a couple episodes back. VOD's on YouTube. Go watch it. Really good episode. But when we were talking about Jordan Peterson, because I think he is like the ultimate example of that kind of thing, where he will walk you up to the ledge of a thing, and then he won't actually draw the conclusion. He makes you do it because he's too much of a coward to actually say what the obvious conclusion is based on the premises he's
And then when you question
developed.
it, he gets upset.
Exactly.
Why would you look at it like that?
Yeah,
nice.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. And it's just like, oh, and this is, and now that's where Roger has gotten to, which is like, oh, but by the way, I don't even know why you care what I think. I don't even know. You don't need my validation.
I just wrote this article about it. Why do you care?
Yeah. So, and then this is the very last bit. This is
Those war
unintentionally, I think unintentionally.
Oh,
if
God.
not, he's just really
Blast him.
dumb. His hilarious last paragraph. He says, toward the end of Santiago's presentation, she shows a visual with 6 circles, which represent, I gather, the components now forming for her brave new world of video games as art. The circles are labeled development, finance, publishing, marketing, education, and executive management. I rest my case.
What? How's that rest your case?
What
You
he's
can't just say
saying is
rest your
that
case, then not explain it.
Yes, you can.
what,
You just
what
did.
he's saying is that if there was, thank you, Durant.
Unless it's like cut in stone, like obvious, like
No, what he's
I
saying is
jumped
that, like-
up, I jumped up and came down. I rest my case. Cool. Yeah, that happened. Like what?
His implication is that the kind of corporate structure there of development, finance, publishing, marketing, education, and executive management, he's saying that is what disqualifies it from being art. What do movies do, Raj?
Yeah,
I was about
exactly.
to say, Draneth, too.
Or books.
Movies.
or music.
Yeah.
They all have this corporate structure behind it because that's the way the world is.
Marketing disqualifies it, Raj.
So
Yes.
then everything's disqualified.
Thank God you have the gate on our audio right now.
I do
Now,
have the
even
gate.
then,
Because
I'm
I feel like
sure I'm
e-
pushing into the red.
And I feel like at
you're
that
good.
point, you could argue museums are disqualified too that house art because they are marketed as
Yeah, they're taking tickets.
You know?
Yep. Yep.
Development is my favorite part.
Yeah, they
Having
can't develop
developed,
art.
you can't develop your art. Finance, don't you dare find a way to pay for this art. Commission this. That it's not art. That's what. So
Did I clear this
it's-
out?
it's just that paragraph
You
is
missed
just
a Ruby
such a
back there.
mwah.
Sorry, Corbin,
Yeah,
we're talking.
sure.
Yeah. That kind of that direction. There was a Ruby you missed. You could look. I think you could bring it up on your map.
It's just such a good summation of his bias.
Sorry.
His bias when
It is-
analyzing
I mean, it
this
really
stuff.
is, though. It's
Yeah.
just,
I think it was over there.
So he defeats his entire argument at the end of the article, which is just. If I
don't know
didn't
if he
know better,
does he realize it, though? That's the question.
no, I don't think so. And if I didn't know better, I would say, is this article a performative art piece?
Sure. Sure.
This might legit be the greatest piece of art that I don't want to see your movies, Keiko, but I didn't mind participating in them.
Ah.
Dang, I didn't know.
We've seen your movies, Cake Up, and they're long lost, and we need to recover them. You know what we mean.
There are Keiko movies.
Oh my
There's
god!
one in particular.
There's one in particular that is fantastic.
As the
needs
legend
resurrection.
of many.
Wait, is that video that we're all talking about and probably won't be able to give any specifics about? Is that art? I think it is. I think that video
Yes,
is art.
absolutely.
There's
I
character.
think you could argue that it is.
Yeah, it's
The-
performative.
The degree is
There's a
feeling
lot of
this.
emotions.
Lots,
It's not
lots of
fair,
crying.
audience in chat, that you don't know what we're talking about, but just trust me. Have you ever gotten liquored up and made a weird movie in your college days that you wish would go away? It's nothing sexual, mind you, but I'm sure you
No,
have.
but-
And
no,
the question
because
is,
you
is
said
that
that
art?
singular.
Embarrassing things. Not embarrassing, entertaining to your friends, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah, that's excellent.
100% art.
But so that basically wraps up. I know that a lot of this was just us screeching about how, and that's not even fair to categorize, but a lot of it was just like pointing out how ridiculous Ebert's arguments are, and how
Fires
like,
light the fires, Big Daddy. Hell yeah, brother. Sorry.
it's pretty. No, you're good. It's pretty silly to say anything about, or to come to the conclusion that video games cannot be art. To state that they are all art, that's probably too far in the other direction.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And let's be real, we've all played some garbage games like that. We're like, oh,
100%.
like
We have all done it.
yeah.
And that was kind of one of the things Ebert was pointing to, where he was talking about, artists making, masterpieces or bad paintings. But he didn't outright say this. But the question that I would have is, well, are you saying that the bad paintings aren't art?
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Or the
they-
worst movie he's seen, is that not art?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still.
Like, he probably would say no because he's mad at it, but I don't
Right.
think it's being.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
that's being disingenuous.
Well, which he circuitously got back to saying that, like, it's all kind of subjective. So it's like, well, okay, so you're literally just screaming out into the void to be, and really, I mean, that's what it was. It was an attention grab. It was,
Yeah, of course.
yeah. Which, but in a way, again, to play devil's advocate here, it did provoke a lot of emotion, and it did get us talking, and it did get us. So in a way, what I'm saying is Roger Ebert truly is that toilet that was presented as a piece of art in that exhibit.
It's a toilet.
Nice.
Skibidi toilet, I guess.
Excuse me,
Ohio.
was.
Amazing.
Oh, excellent. Well, what a great topic.
Durant
We
points
settled
out
it.
The Last of Us 1 came out in June 2013. Coincidence? I think
Nice. There we go. Wow. They just wait for it. They held
He
the
just
release
missed
date.
not. Yep.
Oh man.
Clearly out of spite, and if that's true, I can get on board with that.
I hope so.
Oh yeah.
Was
Is
that
the
is that
movie
where we're
talking about?
calling it for tonight?
There it is.
I think we're getting
That's
pretty
what you
close to
missed,
wrapping
Corbin.
up. Let's Sean, Corbin, you've played this game. Are we looking for like a stage completion here, or are we
So this area here is kind of like a big open map area. So I can't remember how far along
Seems like
he is.
there's a
in it.
lot to
Yeah,
collect
there's a
out
lot.
in this
Okay.
map.
Okay.
So I don't
Especially with
think
Corbin.
a stage completion is going to be a lot of extra time. For
Well, we'll
anybody.
retire to executive session to let you finish this. Finish this stage up, and we'll adjourn the public meeting then.
Clearly missed some things somewhere
Sounds
along
fair.
the line.
I'll look and
there
see
you
who
go.
we can raid out to.
Excellent.
Oh, Reagan's
while
on.
we're-
Might as well.
While we're checking that out, obviously want to say a big thank you to everyone who stuck around for the stream watch. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for participating.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you
We
guys.
love you all.
We appreciate the support. Follow us here on Twitch. Like, comment, subscribe over on YouTube at Save Point Society. We also have
Instagram.
Blue Sky, Instagram. Our Gmail is savepointsociety@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, whether it's just feedback, whether it's ideas for topics you'd like us to cover.
Or if you have games that you want to see me play, as long
Yeah.
as it's not going to cost me a ton of money, like I will legitimately, if people ask, I will play whatever.
Hey, let us know if you want Corbin and Max to play Final Fantasy.
Like I will
Yeah.
give it a
Yeah, we'll
shot
have
on
to do that
stream.
stream.
I will hate it, but I will do it because I love you guys.
I don't know
He's
if
a
there'd be
team
an
player.
equivalent
Nice.
that you could do to us. I don't know that there's any games that I really hate. There's
I would
games that I
make-
don't like vibe with, but
I mean, well, we're gonna Subnautica, aren't we?
oh, that's
see how
true.
you
You're
do
gonna
with
make me play. You're gonna make me play a scary game. That's true.
Spookiest games.
Yeah.
these games.
I'm more chaotic.
And you have to have the sound turned up, and you have to be in a dark room.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't get that with me unless there's a
Do it
Miles
for the
Teller
fans.
game.
You're not going to do it for yourself. Do it for the fans. All right,
I do it for you, chat. We love you with all of our hearts. Mwah. I think we're gonna raid out to Ragged.
Yeah, we're gonna raid out to Ragged. So let's go raid out to Ragged. Looks like she's playing some Call of Duty.
Corbin will be happy.
She's been just kind of a good Twitch friend for a while back when I started streaming. So we'll probably be raiding out here and there to her, and she's one of the people I have online. So seems to fit up nicely. So give her a follow if you enjoy that, and appreciate you. We'll see you next week, and I might do some streaming this weekend too. I was thinking about that, so I will maybe be popping on at Saturday or Sunday. But
I have
we'll see
two
what comes
shows coming up, so I will be starting Saturday. I'm on for 4 days, so I will not be there for
Tuesday. Missing Tuesday?
Sorry, brother.
We'll have the
Sadness.
Fast and the Furious montage queued up by then.
Patients never stop coming in, but it's Memorial Day.
It happens.
So I'm
Ooh.
looking to it.
Oh, I didn't think about
See some
that. Sorry,
freedom
buddy.
wounds.
Raiding over. Here we go.
All right, thank you guys again. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Kisses.
Kisses.
Mwah. Mm.
Get delayed.